Hi guys, okay, quick update for Bitcoin here on the YouTube side of things. So before I begin, if you guys want to join the group, you can just follow this. We cover pretty much everything, including the stock market and group requests. And also there's a private Twitter feed for those who day trade the ES. So just follow this, go through PayPal. If you want to pay in crypto, I'm taking payments until the end of June. So 2 months in advance, just give me an email and we can negotiate the rate for that. Shopify store if you need some educational material as to how I interpret the market. There's your discount code FF40, and there's the Bitcoin call from December 17, and also everything's here: chart patterns, candlestick patterns, COT reports, pretty much everything's here. I'm not gonna go through all that. And have a look at the podcasts as well. We're doing podcasts every now and then. Did a recent one with Mr. AP from Twitter. And also recommended reading books and trading setups. If you're going to buy anything off Amazon or whatever, just go through these links. That would be much appreciated. Okay, right, Bitcoin. So as we can see, we're charging towards 6.4k. That was my target when it was down here somewhere. Now, basically, short term, I think what we've had here is a wave 4 off a wave 3. So the way I'm running this right now is that, let's just say that was the 1. That was the 2. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. So I think a 3 is going to come in here, a 4 is going to come in here, then we're going to end up going towards 6.4k. I don't think this is the count. I'm not convinced this is a 4. And the reason is there's no real divergence that I can see yet. It still all looks very, very bullish. To me, that's not divergent. Divergent, I want to see it go from very overbought back into the shaded area and then break this swing low, which is not doing. And also on the MACD, on the MacDaddy, we know that the wave 3 of 3 tends to be the big surge, and that's not enough divergence for me to call that a larger degree wave 4. So this is all part of a wave 3. So we're actually still in a wave 3. Now, we know on Friday is the futures expiry. So what often happens, you will get a dump as the contract rolls over. Once the contract has rolled over, you then get a pump as people buy the new contract, obviously next month's contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if we hit, 5.8k, maybe 5.9k, then that completes the wave 3. Then alongside this futures expiry over the next 72 hours, we're going to get basically a bear trap. Everyone's going to think, right, it's hit 6k, we're going to short it. Everyone is going to short 6k. Everyone's waiting for this big move. Now, because everyone's going to be shorting at 6k, that's what makes me think it's going to be a bear trap. And I think all we're going to get from 5.8, 6k, whatever, is just a short-term pullback. Typically, the wave 4 will correct to the previous wave 4 off the larger degree, if that makes sense. So the wave 4 on this degree usually corrects to the wave 4 off the wave 3. Now, we can also just have a look here. Let's just say it hits 5.8k, whatever, 6k. There's your 38.2, and then your target's going to be there. Now, the reason 6.4k is the target is very, very simple. It's the large volume spike here. Price does not like areas where there's no volume. Price likes to be where there's loads of volume, okay? On top of that, it's the 38.2 fib, as you can see here, from 11,000. Now, once it hits 6.4k, we then have to reassess and find out what's going on. Obviously, this all looks very, very impulsive. The altcoins look relatively weak compared to Bitcoin, and that's interesting. But for right now, Bitcoin remains bullish, and I'm bullish on Bitcoin. Not so much on some of the altcoins. Like, Bitcoin's made a new high, Litecoin hasn't, and Ethereum hasn't. So make of that what you will. Obviously, they can still move up, but that's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Right now, it's best to pick the leader, which is Bitcoin. Now, once it hits 6.4k, do we then get this large move down, or do we just get another correction, i.e. another 3-wave pullback maybe to, I don't know, 5k something. Then we have another push up towards the next fib, which would be 7.5k. So ultimately, like I said, this 3.1k is going to remain the low for the next couple of months at least. I've maintained that since, you know, ever since it broke through here. So it's important to respect 3.1k as the low. And right now we're going from disbelief into that hope phase, and as it gets above 6k, a lot of people are going to be shorting 6k. I mean, what's the shorts doing? Yeah, so you can just see it there. I mean, everyone's going to be a hero and short 6k because they all think that they're trader Dante, but of course, there's only one GOAT. Okay, now looking on the weekly chart, let's just have a look. Actually, let's not go on the weekly. Let's go on the daily again. If it's correcting the entire move from 20,000, well then, that's 19.66. There's your 23.6. That's at 7,000. So as a minimum, we're probably going to get up to here, to be honest. And it looks like a large move, but actually it's not a large move at all. It's just because I've got it on the log chart. On the regular chart, it looks perfectly normal in terms of the size of the move. Don't forget, this move here was from 6,000. That was nearly 100% move. So actually, we've not even done 100% yet. So this move, it is actually not surprising at all. I mean, 97% gets us to 6k. So, you know, 6k was never that optimistic at all. The optimistic target is, does it go higher towards 7,000, 7,400? That's when it gets interesting. Now, what else can we find here? On the monthly chart, is there any pivot levels that we need to worry about? Well, I've got a level marked at 7,000 and 7,700. So those are going to be interesting levels to watch. But for right now, 6.4k and then reassess the count. As you can see, volume's coming in. It's making higher lows on the monthly chart. And these are all nice green candles. And we have that heroic golden cross, which can happen during a bear market. There's your 200. And I've got it as the 50 simple. So we've had that golden cross. So let's see how long this can last. Obviously, if it just continues to go higher, then we have to reassess the entire count. In that 20,000 was just a wave 3. This has all been a massive wave 4, and now we're going to go up towards 50, 100, 250,000 or so in a massive wave 5. I don't think so. I think 20,000 was a wave 5, and we're now correcting the entire, you know, bull market of the last few years, whatever. So that remains to be seen. But for right now, don't worry about the low, don't worry about the high, just trade the market for what it is. And like I said, to me, this is not divergent enough. I refuse to believe this is just going to roll over right now. I think it still has some ways to go. And like I said, I'm running this as just a 1 and a 2. This is all the wave 3. All of that is still the wave 3. Then we get a futures expiry bear trap. So there is going to be a bear trap here. So if you're planning on shorting at 6k, just be very, very careful, because everyone's thinking the same thing, which makes me think they're going to get run over. And then we might go to 6.4. Then we might get a larger pullback and then go back up again. So ultimately, 3.1k is going to remain the low. Like I said, that's a cycle low, and we're now making a large B wave. So you're going to take it for what it is. Now let's have a look at a few interesting correlated markets, because I've always noticed money seems to come out of altcoins and go into this particular stock. Obviously, people who buy crypto also buy these kind of stocks. They tend to be of the younger population, slightly more emotional, but they're very, very savvy. That's the good thing about the generation after mine. They're very savvy, and they understand how the media works and everything else. So this is no coincidence. Bitcoin's gone up 90% in about 3 months, and TLRY has gone down. And this is basically bottomed out as far as I'm concerned. This is now down 85%. Now that's a W. That's an X. That's a Y. That's an X. That's a Z. And it's basically filled this gap. Now there was some debate here as to, does it have to fill the entire gap? Well, everyone's waiting for a gap fill. Now, if everyone's waiting for the same thing, it makes me think it may not happen. But either way, you don't want to always be so scientific in this game. Like, it's good to develop some artistic behavior. If it goes down, fine, you just add more to your position. But this is clear accumulation going on. If you have a look on the 4 hourly, the big selling climax was all the way up here. This is now in a Wyckoff accumulation, and this could really get a move on here because money has clearly come out of the altcoins and it must have gone somewhere. So that's just something to watch out for. Don't always assume the entire gap has to be filled. But once again, that's just another sort of example. Price doesn't like areas where it's not been before, like gaps. It wants to hit the gap and then completely move away. And as far as I'm concerned, something that's down 85% is now going to get a move on. And my targets here are going to be 58, 63, 70, 79. And I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up at 100 within a few months, frankly. Assuming that there's general growth in the in this particular sector, which I think that there will be. Now, if we have a look here to here, there's your 23.6. That's that 107. So yeah, this has got a whiles to go, and I think it's going to break this trend line pretty soon as well. Also, have a look on the AEMA. That's now curling over. The daily AEMA is curling over. Yeah, so it's just a matter of time. Now, DXY also is starting to make a move on to the upside as well. So something to watch out, because as we know, Bitcoin doesn't fare well when the dollar gets moving. So something to have a look at. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some kind of pullback here short term, but for me, it's just going to be a wave 4, and I think we still are looking good to move higher to at least 5.86k, and I'm looking for 6.4k before we get a bit of a larger correction, and then after which point we can reassess the wave count. Okay, I'll wrap it up there. Good luck to whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you guys soon.